Thank you, Monday. I am your host, Fluff, and today we're gonna sip some coffee and we're gonna answer some questions. But if you have a question, feel free to leave them on down below or go on over to my Ask FM account thing. We'll probably get to you sooner rather than later because there's not a lot of questions left, honestly. I was gone for a while, people kind of forgot about me. It's okay, it happens. I forgive you. Ask a question, please. First question! Where in the signal chain would you recommend placing a pitch shifting pedal, such as the Digitech Drop? For the pitch shifting kind of stuff, I would always recommend putting that very first in the signal chain, if possible, even before something like a tuner. Usually they mention something about where to put it in the signal chain in the manual, but for pitch shifting stuff, you want the signal, the cleanest signal from the guitar to the input of that pitch shifter, whether it be a whammy pedal or an EH pitchfork or something like that. You don't want the signal to be changed in any way, buffer or otherwise, by any pedal before it. So always try to be plugging into the pitch shifting pedal first. Did you switch to Studio One? How are you liking it? Yeah, I've basically completely switched over to Persona Studio One 4, and I love it. And I've always said I just generally will use whatever works best for me. I bought the full version. I bought Cubase 9.5, intending to switch to Cubase, not knowing that it really doesn't work super great on my Mac because of the crazy CPU spikes. Long story short, it doesn't work as well on Mac as it does Windows, because Cubase really is for a Windows machine when you boil it down. But I know how to use Pro Tools. I've used that. I didn't like Pro Tools. Logic I've been on for a long time just because I never found anything better, but more and more the editing tools, you know, Logic is not for editing stuff in an in-depth kind of way. And I was beta testing what is now announced, the new fader port for Presonus, and so it kind of required me to have Studio One for a few certain things. And I would open it up and I would just start playing around with it. And then I would spend a little bit more time in it. And then pretty soon, oh, you know what? I have it open and I'll just start tracking in it. I love it. It does everything I want it to do and more. And the transition from Logic has been completely painless, really. I mean, you can switch over the key commands to either Logic or Cubase or Pro Tools, but I just forced myself to relearn the Presonus, the stock built-in Presonus key commands, so it's been great. Being gone for tour for 2 months after initially learning Studio One was kind of weird because now I came back from tour and I've had to kind of brush up again on it. But other than that, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's been rock solid for me and I'll just keep on using it. So I'm trying to teach myself guitar. I actually feel overwhelmed with where to start. If you were helping someone to learn, how would you go about it? I think that's the one thing that wouldn't have changed since I started learning guitar back in summer of 1994, I think it was, when I was 14. I actually went and sat down with somebody in person and I took lessons for like 6 months. It was just how to hold the guitar, how to read tab, just the basics. I wanted to know the basics, so I wasn't actually doing anything fundamentally wrong, but again, if you're playing, it's fine, you know, you can't really do anything. I just didn't want to hurt myself, really. Because I know there's no rules on how to do anything right or whatever. I just didn't want to hurt myself, so ergonomically I wanted to learn, you know, how to properly hold the guitar and play the guitar and what was too low and that kind of thing. But I would sit down with somebody and I would learn. I would also dive into tutorials, and also don't discount Skype lessons, because if there's something that you really like and want to learn from, chances are they do give Skype lessons. I have a lot of friends that do Skype lessons, you know, Ben Eller, Greg from Acts of Creation is a wonderful, wonderful teacher. So there's lots of guys that you can take lessons from online, but I would initially, my recommendation on a personal level would be to sit down with someone so you can get that immediate feedback. And then once you feel like you have a solid understanding of what you're getting into, then branch out from there as far as lessons and learning and different things. But yeah, you know, take cues from players that you like and just go from there. I know you're not a headless fan, but have you tried the Strandberg Endure Neck? Actually, I have. I have a good friend, Jason, who has a Strandberg, I think it's a 8-string, and it feels like you're playing a 7-string. It's one of the most comfortable guitars I have ever played. And credit where credit is due, Ola Strandberg designed some of the most insane guitars ever made. They stay out of your way completely, because the whole idea around the guitars are to stay out of your way and be ergonomic and take the least amount of energy. And it's just, yeah, phenomenal neck. You look at it and you think that's gonna play kind of weird. It doesn't. It's so comfortable, and it was very intuitive feeling to use. I was pretty shocked by it, because I initially wrote it off like I do sometimes. But yeah, he was like, no, dude, you need to just try this. And okay, yeah, sure. I grab it and I'm like, whoa. This thing is just butter. And it's an 8-string, and I don't feel like I'm playing an 8-string, Ibanez, I'm looking at you. But it was just very, very comfortable. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about the Endure deck. And now, Fluff reads a tweet. Man, there are a lot of clubs and venues that have taken a stand against bathroom stall doors, toilet paper, and running water. Good for them. My suggestion to you this week is to check out Empty Black from Greyhaven. This album came out a couple of months ago, and it was really all that was playing in the tour van. All of us just universally have loved this album. Only a couple of us had ever heard the album before the tour. It was kind of like, hey, what is this? Like someone would take their turn to drive, and so they get to put on whatever they want. And Greyhaven was on, and it was like, yo, what is that? I was familiar with the band before, but the Empty Black is a masterpiece of an album, and I would honestly, real talk here, I would call it one of my favorite albums of the year. All the applicable links down below in the description. You've been wonderful. I have been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.